Hello and welcome everybody to another commentary video, as I will be doing commentary on Daily Race A, which is the Renault Clios at Goodwood. It is a track I'm not particularly familiar with, but I did buy the Renault Clio very early when I got this game, and I really enjoy driving it, so I'm quite used to it compared to most road cars. As you see here, I get an absolutely horrible start as I spin the tires and I go up a gear. As I was just saying, I'm experienced in this car, but that's not the only mistake I make. As I get onto the grass, but I carry too much momentum, push the other guy to the side, absolutely ruining his race, and he has no chance of recovering. I get a 5-second penalty, absolutely justified. Massive mistake. I usually don't do that. I felt quite bad. I apologized to him in the chat later. I don't know if he ever saw it, but I decide to just move on and keep the pressure on the people ahead of me, as well as try to slow the progress of the people behind me, because once I serve the penalty, obviously I'm going to be behind them, but if I slow them down, they're not going to be as far ahead. And as the guy makes a mistake there, I make a fairly easy move around the outside, nice and easy into 7th place. That's another guy I'll be able to slow down. As I get this corner wrong, though, which I've been doing all week at this race, he gets around the outside, makes a really easy move, slots in ahead of me. He's going to get ahead of me. I just don't have the momentum. Like I was saying, I'm not very good at that corner. I think I go in too deep, and I just don't carry enough momentum out, which makes it impossible for me to get a good run. Now, once again, keep the pressure on. I want to see if I can get a nice bit of momentum coming out of the chicane, because that's something I've been able to do once again all week. This time a positive thing. As he gets into the dirt, I get a little bit sideways and do a bit of an overcorrection, which does slow down my momentum, but I do have enough momentum to maybe make a move, as the guy in 6th is going slow, making it so we can go ahead of him. Well, the guy ahead can go ahead of him. I break a little bit too much, making it very easy for Silver Fox to maintain his 7th place. He only loses one position here instead. As I come up to the line, move off the driving line, the penalty line, sorry. I come up to the penalty line and move off the driving line, sorry. Serve my penalty, go all the way down to 10th. Now, lap 3 here, I have managed to cut the gap down by a lot to the 9th place here, as the pack has been battling a lot. Can tell by the fact that a guy has a penalty up there. Not sure who it is yet because they're too far away, but I will obviously be gaining that spot at least. Hoping to gain more spots than that, hoping for at least 7th maybe. As he goes to serve his penalty up here, obviously I get by him fairly easily. I always try to move off the driving line because the ghosting can unghost at any moment. So it's always a good idea to go off the driving line and not trust it, as you see the guy in front of me did the same thing. But yeah, lesson, don't trust the ghosting all the time. I do take a pretty big risk coming up here. Speaking of that and trusting the ghosting, is the guy in front of me is about to make a mistake. He tries to make a move on he makes a move on the inside, and the guy in front of him makes a mistake. And I say, screw it, I'm going to risk the ghosting working, and it does just in time, because I had nothing to lose there, so I was like, well, you know what, at this point, it's actually more likely it'll work when he's slowing down rather than when he's done serving the penalty, so it was less of a risk. Still knew it was a risk there, still managed to make it work in the end, which is what matters. But I want to put the pressure on Daddio here for 7th place. Once again, looking for the momentum coming onto the straightaway. I do get on the grass a little bit there, and he does too. He breaks a little more than you have to coming out of the corner, and I actually have to lift a little bit, which makes me lose a little bit of momentum than I thought I would have, but I do manage to get alongside him. Going for the move, going into the very first corner, I break a little more than him and let him have it so I can get the momentum coming out of the corner, but he manages to break it right at the wrong time, which makes me go onto the dirt, ending any chance of me passing him on the straightaway. He'll just definitely start pulling away at this point, as there is the guy behind me, Castle the King, putting on the pressure for me in 8th. I decided after this corner coming up actually to take it easy, because I am a little too aggressive into this corner. Oh no, it looks like I got pushed. I got pushed out of the way. I completely forgot about that. I actually get pushed into the guy. I remember figuring that out later. I didn't know that in the race, but in the race I thought I got too late on the brakes and just ran into the guy in front of me. But actually, if you saw there in my mirror, the guy behind me, Castle the King, punts me into Daddio, which I had no idea until I watched this replay earlier. And I forgot about that until now. I really was convinced I made a mistake, so I just stopped being aggressive on him whatsoever through here, because I was like, you know what, 8th is good. My safety rating's obviously going back down at this point, even though it just went up a little bit, but it's going to go down overall, which it does. I go down back to an A. Spoiler alert, just kidding. But as you can see, I'm just taking it easy, not pushing it too hard. I do have a little bit of regret. As you can see, he gets this corner, the chicane here, absolutely wrong. And I have a chance to pass him, but not really. You can tell the line's coming up any second now, and I'm not going to make it. I'm not even alongside him when we come to the line. Decent race, though, and I'm satisfied for that result after I made a massive mistake. And here we have the second race here, as I am starting in 4th this time. You can see the sportsmanship rating is much worse for me, as I was mentioning it would be. Not much worse, but I'm in A and B's now instead of being in the S's, which can be dangerous. So I am looking to do a clean race here. I do go to use the traction control to get a nice start without any wheel spin. That's good advice I recommend, as you can just use it for the first couple of seconds and turn it back off and get back to the radar. As we go side by side through the first corner, my decent start gets me alongside third place. I just don't get as good of a run, as he actually gets a bit of a boost from the guy in 5th, I believe. Juan, yeah, he's pushing him through, because it'll help Juan in the end to be pushed through as well. As we go through this little corner, Juan does get a little bit of understeer because of the hill that is on the outside is a little bit bigger, which causes understeer and puts him off all in the dirt. As you just want to break a tiny bit through here, I stay right on the back of him. Another tiny little braking zone here, still staying on the back of him. Don't want to put too much pressure on him, because I want us to be able to catch up to 1st and 2nd at this point. 1st and 2nd are battling, as you can see, and we are already getting on them, making it very much possible for all 4 of us to get 1st place. And I really want that, as I do not win all too often. Now, this is just the beginning, as the battling does get very aggressive. As you go into this corner here, you just want to brake very lightly, and then get on the gas as early as you can, because you want a lot of speed, because you do usually get a lot of time on people if they make a mistake. As you can see here, I get very decent through the chicane, but I do have to lift because of how slow he's going. And it looks like I do not get the best run coming out. Now, the reason I do these road car races is because there's a lot of action. As you see here, Kamikaze pushes the American off, which makes me make a mistake, because I was staring at that ahead, and I go in the dirt. He gives me a shot, because he probably thought I was trying to make an illegal pass, I bet. I really wasn't. I was just trying to avoid them, but who knows? He was willing to make that dive bomb. As the guy, Juan, again, comes out of nowhere to take 3rd place from both of us. Like I was saying before, though, the reason that I really like to do these road car races with the slower cars is because of the action. You don't get as much action usually in the faster race cars, or the faster cars and the race cars, I mean, because there's just not as much passing opportunity when you're going faster. You can get a lot closer in the slower cars. As you see, they get side by side going through this corner that I never get right, as I actually do get it decent this time. Juan making a very bad run out of the corner, making it so I can gain 5th place maybe, as he loses 3rd place. I'm getting beside Juan, going through this set of weird corner straight things here. I don't know what to call them. I'm sure they all have names, and I'm probably making people mad, but I don't know the names. As I go to outbrake him, and I manage to just outbrake him. Perfect move. He might have given me the space there, I'm not sure, but it looked pretty easy. As once again, I always want to focus on not messing up this chicane. As then, speaking of that, Kamikaze does clip that a little bit. I think he clipped it a little less than it looked like on the screen, because he didn't lose that much momentum, but he did clip it. I don't get that good of a run because of the fact that I had to lift. So what I decide to do is just take it easy through the corners. He does a little bit of a break, and I see the opportunity to go around the outside as I don't want to lose the momentum. I know I'm going to gain the spot anyways because of his penalty, but I also do not want to lose the momentum here. As we come to the end of this clip, we are now on the final lap as nothing really happened for the next little bit. I just started to gain on second place, and second place started to gain on third a little bit. As I look to put the pressure on second, hopefully he's going to make a mistake and maybe I can get second. This is exactly what I'm hoping for as we go into this tricky corner here that once again, like I said, I never seem to get right. Neither does this guy, as he gets way too wide. That happened to me a lot in practice, to be honest. And it's a perfect opportunity for me to go around the outside and get the move done. Nice and easy. Now I'm in second place. Now I just have to make sure I get the next two, the final set of corners. I apologize. Absolutely right. As if if you want to defend through these two double right-handers here, you just got to get nice and tight to the apex because you won't be able to make a move. As you can see on the radar, he is thinking about it, but there's just not enough space. He had more speed than me, and once again, I just have to get this absolutely right and carry my momentum through as I get it better than him as he gets sideways. How many times am I going to say as he? Who knows? As I come to the line in second place, absolutely perfect race, beating Americans again, one of my favorite things to do as a Canadian. No hard feelings, it's just a natural rivalry. But my rating now back up to an S, and that's exactly what I wanted for my sportsmanship. Now, as we come to the final race here, I have a second place start. Once again, using the traction control, now down to 1, which actually is a little better. Get a really good run down the straightaway as the guy in third place, Hugo, looks to put the pressure on as well. But I am optimistic about getting first place. Mr. Stutz looked like he was a little too fast, but I don't know. I do want to put the pressure on right away. I think that's my best opportunity is to go on the first lap as I make a mistake and go around the outside of that same corner the other guy did earlier, which causes that understeer, puts me off to the left. I get on the grass and lose all momentum, making it so I have no chance really of passing him on the first lap, which really was my best opportunity. Because in the qualifying times, he was about, I think, 7 or 8 tenths faster than me, so his pace is probably just better. Sometimes the qualifying times I find can be a fluke and they just make a mistake, but most of the time that's not the case. That's why I wanted to make a pass on the first lap, because then he had the challenge of having to pass me, even if he's faster than me. But as you can see, he's already starting to pull away, making 7 tenths of a second already, which is about as fast as he is per lap than me. That's funny. So it makes a lot of sense. That was a funny lap. It sounded so fake. But as you can see, I do gain a little bit of time through here because I am pretty good at this corner, I find. A lot better than most people. Once again, and I do not get the chicane right. I thought I was going to get it very right there, and I actually have a little bit too much speed, and I have to absolutely slam on the brakes, ruining all the time I gained, making it so now he has a full a second and 3/10 actually now ahead of me. That pretty much ends any chance I have of getting first place, barring a major mistake by him. But nothing really happens for the next little while as we get to the end of this clip. Move on to lap 4. Lap 4 here, he has already pulled away 4.5 seconds. He is gone. He has won this race basically. At this point, there's no way he's not going to make a mistake, I think, because he was an A-ranked driver, now that I remember, and tend to make a lot less mistakes. So I'm just focusing on my pace and making sure I get second. But I start to feel the nerves as I am way too much to the inside here, making a bit of a mistake, which does allow him to gain almost half a second on that, which it didn't look like much, but I really didn't get much momentum coming out of that corner. He gained half a second. As we come to this corner, once again, the one I get wrong. I'll mention it every time, I guess. I get it wrong again, go sideways. Absolutely wrong again. Losing a lot of time. One of the reasons, though, I was getting nervous is because the guy in 4th place, I found, had better pace than the guy in 3rd place. Big Hitter had better pace than Hugo 10. So what I was thinking is that Hugo was going to lose 4th place to Big Hitter, and Big Hitter would eventually put the pressure on me. As we come into the final set of corners, I get it pretty decently right. Don't get the most speed out of the corner, but Going into this chicane, I get it wrong, and I have to slam on the brakes, just barely miss the side, but I lose all my speed. Afraid that Hugh 10's going to be right on my tail, but he's not, and I'm surprised, but the reason is because he must have made a mistake too. His big hitter gets alongside him, makes a very easy move. You can't really see it too well in the mirror, but he just goes around the outside and makes it easy as he had way more momentum. And I realize that at the same time, and I start to get even more nervous because I think Big Hitter is a faster driver at this track than me, he has better pace. As I look to not make a mistake, and usually when I start thinking about that, that's when I make a mistake rather than just trying to focus on my driving. It's a flaw that I'm trying to work on myself, is trying to be focused here. As you see, I get way too late on the brakes as I'm trying to overcompensate, and that tiny little mistake makes him right on the tail of me. Suddenly it's a race. Second place is now within reach for both the guys, as I have Hugo 10 right behind him as well. Try to get this corner right this time and clip the apex. I do. I almost cut it. Somehow I don't get a penalty, but I do get lots of speed coming out of the corner, but still not as much as I'd like to, as Big Hitter does get a little bit alongside me, but not quite, as he's going to have to settle in behind me going into this final set of corners. Once again, I'm going to be going to, or trying to stay all the way to the inside as a defense mechanism, as I stay way more the inside than I usually do, making it impossible for him to get any speed or get any pass, as he didn't have the speed anyways. Coming through that final chicane, I get on the dirt, and I think my race is over as far as second place. Big Hitter's coming up there, but he just does not have the speed. I get second place, very satisfied with that result, nice and clean by myself, as it says I'm in first place for a second, but I'm not. But still, my 21st podium. Just wanted to do a quick video today, guys, and test out my mic. Hope you really liked it. If you did, subscribe and like the video. I'll be posting new ones soon.